Here's the headline landing on your feed today. A viral league memo claims the WNBA just suspended 2 Connecticut Sun players for 3 games and fined them $100,000 each for excessive contact on Caitlin Clark in Saturday's matchup. That's a nuclear claim. It spreads fast, it stirs outrage, and it hits every nerve in a playoff race where every minute matters. But here's the snapback by the 12-second mark. Official reporting on June 18, 2025 said there were no suspensions after the Fever Sun skirmishes, and that matters for what you're seeing now. We're going to pull receipts, walk the timeline, and tell you what's real, what's rumor, and what it means for Indiana's playoff push this week. Let's start with what we can confirm. On June 18th, credible outlets reported the league would not issue suspensions after a contentious Fever Sun game. The league did upgrade contact to a flagrant 2-1 sequence and issued fines consistent with that standard. Those are not my words, that's the public record. If you're seeing a graphic today claiming multi-game bans and 6-figure fines tied to Saturday, it's running uphill against those documented decisions and against how discipline is normally communicated. Now, about that memo. Ask a simple question: where is the official release? Real suspensions at this level arrive with clear language, a named player list, and distribution to beat writers within minutes. Reporters who cover this league daily move fast on discipline because it affects rotations, matchups, and spreads. If those people don't have it, that's a red flag. If the claim relies on a screenshot with no source line, no league letterhead, no timestamp that can be checked, that's your second red flag. And if the numbers look way off from known fine ranges, that's a third. Here's why the numbers matter. The figure floating around today is $100,000. Put that next to what reputable reporting described for a flagrant 2 back in June. A standard fine consistent with WNBA policy, not 6 figures. We're talking orders of magnitude difference. If a claim asks you to believe the league moved from a standard range to $100,000 per player, you'd also expect ironclad sourcing, a press release, and the full beat core echoing it within minutes. That did not happen. Now let's rewind the game context that keeps getting clipped and reshared. In mid-June, Indiana and Connecticut played one of the chippiest games of the year. You had a poke to Clark's face in the third, tempers flaring, a shove that sent her to the floor, technicals flying, and another dust-up in the final minute that ended with ejections. Fans were loud about 2 things: protect stars and get control of the game earlier. The league's next-day action reflected that temperature. Upgrade 1 foul to a flagrant 2, fine accordingly, but no suspensions. That was the balance they struck then, with the postseason picture still forming and emotions already high. Fast forward to this weekend, the part driving the rumor. Indiana is still in the playoff fight. Caitlin Clark has missed time with a right groin injury and did not travel to Connecticut. That detail alone should slow you down on clips claiming excessive contact on Clark during the August 16th game. The star in question wasn't on the floor. So ask yourself, how did a discipline memo for contact on a player who didn't suit up for that game suddenly appear on social feeds before it appeared on any league channel or in any beat report? It doesn't track. This is where stakes meet mechanism. The stakes are real. The Fever's margin is slim. The Sun are jostling seeding and rhythm. Every single game alters the math. If 2 starters were actually suspended 3 games today, rotations would flip, betting lines would move, and every outlet from the league site to major sports desks would push alerts. Agents would call, coaches would answer questions on the record, opponents would prep different scout pages. The silence in those places is proof enough something's off with the viral claim. Now, I get why this snowballs. The season has been a running debate about physicality on guard play, officiating consistency, and the line between tough defense and that's too far. Clark's emergence has magnified that debate. When she gets knocked down or takes a shot to the face, the clip hits millions in minutes. Fans see compilation edits built from 5 angles, cut to music, and they want action. Some want fines, some want suspensions, some want both. That passion is good for attention, but it can blur the difference between what should happen and what did happen. So let's draw the line. What did happen, documented and dated? After the June Fever Sun game, the league said no suspensions, upgraded a contact to flagrant 2, and issued fines. What also happened, documented and dated. As of this week, Clark is rehabbing, the Fever are still in playoff position, and Indiana's schedule turns into a nightly referendum on composure and execution. What did not happen based on any reputable release? As of taping, a confirmed 3-game suspension and 6-figure fines for 2 Sun players stemming from an August 16th incident involving Clark. Think about the pressure points on both sides. For Connecticut, the pressure is competitive rhythm and seeding. They want to sharpen late-game execution and keep their rotation intact, especially with bigs and primary creators shouldering heavy minutes. Any real suspension would smash that rhythm. For Indiana, the pressure is managing without their lead playmaker while keeping turnovers down, shot quality up, and late possessions organized. They don't win track meets, they win with late execution and free throws. A rumor that 2 opponents are out for 3 games feels like relief, but it's also a trap. Because if it's not true, the focus drifts from the only thing they control, this week's possessions. Let's talk officiating, the third rail. Players and coaches said in June the game needed to be calmed sooner. That's not hard to understand. When contact climbs and whistles get late, tension compounds. You get retaliations, you get scrums, you get fans calling for the hammer. The league's response then was to adjust fouls after the fact and hit wallets. Reasonable people can disagree on whether that was enough, but you can't disagree on what was said on the record that day. If you want suspensions now, say that. Call for them. Argue for a standard that draws the line earlier and harder. Just don't pretend a memo exists to back you up today. Here's a twist you might not have considered. The outsized 100,000 number isn't just dramatic. It's a tell. It signals a post built for rage clicks, not accuracy. It's designed to look big enough to be believed by those who don't track the economics of the WNBA. If you follow this league, you know typical fines tied to a flagrant are far lower, and that 6-figure numbers in public discipline are usually about teams or tampering, not in-game contact by individual players. When a claim leaps from that baseline to 6 figures, you're probably looking at content for engagement, not compliance. Zoom out to legacy. Clark's presence has changed attendance, TV windows, and the intensity of every defensive possession she faces. There is a real conversation here about star treatment, guard protection, and how leagues scale officiating standards as the speed and strength of the game climb. That's a film room conversation and a CBA conversation, not a screenshot conversation. If you care about that, anchor it to tape and to the rulebook, not to anonymous JPEGs. Now the counter case, and let's be fair about it. Could the league, in theory, issue new discipline today tied to misconduct in a more recent contest between these same teams? In theory, yes. If there was misconduct, if the league reviewed it, and if it rose to the level of suspension under the rules. If that happened, you'd see official statements, named players, dates, and a clear basis under the rulebook. You'd see beat writers pushing alerts and coaches confirming availability. That's how it always surfaces. You're not seeing that here. What about team reactions? If you scan the usual touchpoints on a real suspension day, you'll see tight PR language. We respect the league's decision and are focused on our next game. Or, we disagree and are evaluating options. You'll see a coach give the next player up line at practice. You'll see rotations mapped by every preview site. If the locker rooms are quiet, and the beat is quiet, it's because nothing official exists to respond to. So, what's next that actually matters? Connecticut's next tilt falls on Tuesday in Washington. That's a trap if you let the rumor distract you because the Mystics will run, hit threes, and attack straight line if your closeouts are lazy. For Indiana, the next home date is Friday against the Lynx, and that is a measuring stick game for a team still patching ball handling without Clark. Watch the first quarter turnovers, watch late clock decision-making, and watch free throw rate. If those 3 are steady, they can bank a win without any referee storyline. And what about Clark? The Fever have kept the messaging careful. Rehab, ramp up, and no reckless rush. That's the right call even with the playoff clock ticking. A half-healthy star in late August can cost you September. What they need from the rest of the guard room until she's cleared is simple. Value the ball, run the action. To a shot you actually want, and keep transition defense clean. One bad shot with no floor balance becomes an opponent layup, and 2 points you didn't have to give up. Let's land this with a clear, actionable verdict. The viral suspension memo circling today doesn't align with how the league communicates discipline, doesn't match what reputable outlets reported after the June Fever Sun skirmishes, and hangs on a fine number that makes no sense in this league's context. The stakes are real and the emotions are real, but the receipts aren't there. Treat it like what it is, rumor dressed as authority. Here's your watch list for the week. 1. Check official channels and beat writers before you share any memo. 2. Track Indiana's turnover rate and free throw rate in the first and last 5 minutes. That's their playoff heartbeat without Clark. 3. Monitor any league commentary about physical play on guards as the schedule tightens. If there's going to be a standard shift, it will come through formal language, not a screenshot with no source line. Final word. This league is better when we debate hard plays with film, rules, and context. Not with rage graphics. Connecticut's job is to keep focus and avoid fouls that send the internet into orbit. Indiana's job is to steal wins while their star heals. Our job is to separate receipts from rumors. And today, the receipts say no suspensions were issued in the scenario that Graphic is selling you. Believe the dates, believe the outlets that stake their names on accuracy, and keep your eyes on the games that will actually decide seeds and legacies this week.